Mexico is awash with violence from drug cartels. And for years, the narrative has been that illegal U.S. guns were fueling the fight. Full Measure has found a different story.
The vast majority of crime guns recovered in Mexico are purchased directly by the Mexican government.
This week, a former ATF agent offers a shocking source of who's really supplying the Mexican gang wars.
We will highlight more abuses of your tax dollars.
When DOJ turned the spotlight on wasteful spending, a lot of light went on non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, that feed the hungry and provide disaster relief around the world, and in some cases, push political agendas.
In the case of federally funded nonprofits, typically these are part of the left-wing political infrastructure.
But there's no way that Democrats or left-leaning groups are the only ones.
Record first were no novelty to aviatrix Amelia.
Amelia Earhart was an aviation pioneer and hero. President Trump is promising to release all the classified papers related to her disappearance more than 88 years ago. We visit the team heading on a mission to solve one of the world's most enduring mysteries.
If you find the wreckage on this expedition, do you believe that that would prove that theory that she did, in fact, survive?
I do.
Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. Mexico's cartels are drowning in cash, fueled by record billions they got from smuggling drugs and people across our southern border. For years, the narrative pinned the escalating violence and bloodshed on U.S. gun smuggling and lax firearm laws. After all, American-made weapons litter Mexican crime scenes. But what if the truth is far different? Today, a former federal agent flips the script with a jaw-dropping twist. Many of the U.S. guns used in cartel crimes were originally bought by Mexico's own government. Deadly shootouts and clashes with police are a daily reality among Mexico's killer cartels. As a result, Mexico's gun homicide rate is 2 to 3 times worse than the U.S., over 21,700 gun murders in 2022. It's a flashpoint in the debate over firearms and crime and who's to blame. Mexico and gun control advocates have long blamed smuggling and America's loose gun laws. That's the story John Dodson says he was told throughout his 15 years as a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF.
Ever since I was first assigned to work firearms trafficking on the southwest border, it has widely been reported and utilized that the U.S. civilian firearms market is responsible for the majority of crime guns being recovered in Mexico.
So we're to blame for a lot of guns being used to kill people and do cartel crimes.
We are to blame. Our civilian firearms market, our right to bear arms, is to blame for the violence in Mexico and along the southwest border.
But that's a narrative, he says, that's upended by the surprising truth.
The vast majority of crime guns recovered in Mexico are purchased directly by the Mexican government.
Tracing data confirms it. Most of the U.S. firearms recovered from Mexican crime scenes weren't trafficked or smuggled. They were legally purchased by the Mexican government. Exact numbers are hard to come by, but a 2023 State Department report confirms the U.S. approved $147.7 million in small arms sales to Mexico from companies like Sig Sauer and Glock. Still more weapons are supplied through U.S. foreign military sales. Why is the U.S. government selling so many guns to the Mexican government?
When we first started telling the Mexicans, you have to do something to stop the drug trafficking coming north of the border, the Mexican authorities needed resources and funds to do that. So we started funding these operations, providing them with military surplus equipment, helicopters, firearms, providing them with hundreds of millions of dollars to purchase equipment, much of that firearms.
Dodson says his eyes were first opened back in 2009 as to how many of those legally sold guns end up in the wrong hands. At the time, he was assigned to Operation Fast and Furious. That's where U.S. agents were secretly ordered to let thousands of U.S. guns reach the cartels. John Dodson, a federal agent, says what he was asked to do was beyond belief.
You were intentionally letting guns go to Mexico.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the agency was.
When one of those guns was implicated in the murder of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry, Dodson blew the whistle in a story I broke on CBS News. Dodson's job is to stop gun trafficking across the border. Instead, he says he was ordered to sit by and watch it happen. Dodson's bosses say that never happened. Now he's risking his job to go public.
I'm boots on the ground here in Phoenix and telling you we've been doing it every day since I've been here. Here I am. Tell me I didn't do the things that I did. Tell me you didn't order me to do the things that I did. Tell me it didn't happen. Now you have a name on it, you have a face to put with it. Here I am, someone now. Tell me it didn't happen.
But before the Fast and Furious scandal, Dodson was already on to another. He says he queried ATF's gun tracing network, and he saw that most of the U.S. guns turning up at cartel crime scenes were originally sold to the Mexican government.
When you first saw that, do you remember, was that like a wow moment for you as well?
Yeah, flabbergasted.
So you must have told everybody, including your supervisors, so they knew.
Yes. I've been pounding this drum for, almost 16 years now. I've brought this up to every supervisor I've had with ATF since 2009. I've taken this as far through my chain of command as I can take it, up until the day I retired. I even spoke to the highest ranking DOJ official in Mexico City and showed them this data. And nothing has changed.
So how are so many legally sold guns making it from the Mexican government into the hands of killer cartels? Believe it or not, the State Department only audits a tiny sample to find out, less than 1% of foreign sales, but the results are disturbing. In 2009, 26% of the arms had been confirmed diverted to criminals. A sensitive cable uncovered by WikiLeaks confirms it. The State Department wanted Mexico to answer how an AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle bought by the Mexican military got diverted into criminal hands, and more importantly, where other rifles from the same shipment went. Please account for the current location of the 1,030 AR-15 type rifles, reads the U.S. government cable. There's no response in the record.
The number one dealer on that every time is the Mexican government. For whatever 12-month period you want to pick between now and when we launched Spanish E-Trace in 2009.
We reviewed data from 2016 to 2023. It confirms the Mexican government was the top buyer of U.S. guns later traced to crime scenes in Mexico. This document shows the Mexican military, listed as dealer, purchased more than 2,000 from 2016 through 2021. This 2023 document sources a year's worth of U.S. guns from Mexican crime scenes. 779 of them were originally bought by the Mexican government. No other source is anywhere close. The State Department, which oversees foreign weapons sales, declined our interview request and wouldn't answer any of our questions. We also couldn't get any information from the Justice Department or the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. The State Department has told Congress its priority is national security. While U.S. and Mexican forces continue to fight brutal cartel violence, Dodson warns that the U.S. is inadvertently arming the very criminals it aims to stop.
What are your thoughts about whether the U.S. government should be selling so many guns to Mexico, even if the purchases at the time are legal, when so many of the guns end up in criminal hands?
From what I know, the amount of those firearms that are ending up being diverted to the black market, I would cease and desist all transactions with the Mexican government when it comes to firearms. And I would ask them for a strict and thorough accounting of everything that they have purchased and where is it? What can they lay their hands on right now? We have people on the border right now laid up in observation points along the border risking their lives, and yet we are supplying the cartels with the firearms. It has to stop. It's lunacy.
For more on the story, listen to my podcast, Full Measure After Hours.